let's go camping, right? I mean, who hasn't heard that said to them or said that to someone else in their life? Well, I woke up one day and said that to my family, and the whole goal of me taking them camping is I wanted to pass the knowledge that I had learned from my dad taking me camping down to my daughter. So my wife's goal was to relax. She had her idea of some hot tub in the middle of the forest, and all you could hear is the wind going through the trees and the waves crashing on the beach. It's very much like that, but I also let her know I had my own agenda of what I thought the camping trip was going to be like, and I had a vision of this ultimate adventure with me and my family, and us inserting like Navy SEALs and pulling a full Bear Grylls. But it both occurred to us that we have a 4-year-old daughter, so we were going to have to meet our dreams somewhere in the middle so that it was appropriate. And we did, and we packed up the car. And it's about a 7.5 hour drive from where I live. So we left at midnight. My plan was to drive straight through on until morning and just go ahead and hope that there's some campsites open. Well, my timing got us there about a half an hour before the campground opened. So we were early, and we ended up having to hang out by the road, but it wasn't a big deal because when we got there, the sun was just coming up, and the place is so beautiful that standing at a turnout and hanging out for a half an hour isn't a big deal. There's so much things to look at and so much to take in all at once that none of the three of us really cared that we were early. I let Sydney, my daughter, know that if she looked down into the water, she could see three friends that came down from Monterey to visit us. And she was really excited to see those. She'd never seen animals, out in the wild before. So she was really excited to see something wild that wasn't in a zoo. The seals said we're crazy for going without a reservation, but we made it, and we were even able to get a redwood site, which is a beautiful camp spot that it's usually reserved, but because we got there early and it was an off time of year, we had no problems. We were right next to a stream, and I got to explain to my daughter that she was sleeping under 3,000-year-old trees. I also got to teach her how to set up her own tent and how to fill it up full of arbitrary toys and all the random stuff a 4-year-old's going to bring on a camping trip. Once she realized that the animals come out at night, though, she quickly let Mommy and Daddy know that she'd be sleeping in the tent with us, and that was that. So we got lunch going, and the ranger came up to us kind of after we had set up and let us know there was a pretty big storm set to come through that night. So we made sure to batten down the hatches and get everything prepared to not be wet. And we decided we were going to go down to the beach. So we followed the stream at our campsite all the way down, and it goes right into the Pacific Ocean. And Sheena got her relaxation. She got to hang out on the beach for a little while, even though the weather wasn't good. Sydney got her adventure. She got to kind of stomp around the stream and flip rocks over and look for bugs. I didn't get my adventure, but I got my relaxation. I got to watch the storm roll in as the sun was setting, which was pretty gorgeous. And that to me, as kind of a lover of the mundane and a fan of the weather, that was my hot tub in the middle of the forest, was hanging out on the beach watching that storm come in. So the sun was kind of coming down pretty quick, so we went ahead and made dinner. I got the fire going, and got to pass down some more nuggets of knowledge down to my daughter that, hey, it's nighttime. Hear all those twigs snapping? Those are animals out looking for food. And that kind of freaked her out a little. I probably shouldn't have done that, but what are you going to do? So we went to bed, and the next morning woke up and set out on a hike. And the theme of the whole trip was teaching my daughter about the woods, and she was weirded out by why is everything so charred, Daddy? Why is there black stuff with the green stuff? And I explained to her about forest fires and how a fire had come through, and how it had kind of knocked over a lot of trees, and it had done a lot of damage. And since we're in California with the horrendously underfunded state park system, that also got to teach her if there's an obstacle in the way of your trail or goal, to climb over it, go around it, or go under it. That don't let an obstacle block you from your goal. And our goal that day was the waterfall. That's Limekiln Falls. It's about a 100-foot waterfall, and it was really cool watching my daughter kind of peruse over it and look at it. And she was really amazed, especially when I told her that stream that we were camping by that went down to the beach started right there at the bottom of that waterfall. So girls were tuckered out. We headed back to the campsite, had lunch, and Sydney went ahead and went down for a nap. And Daddy got a fire going because the storm was actually rolling in. It was raining at that point, so I made sure to have a fire going for the night. And Sheena, my wife, decided she was going to take a nap. So I set off on the trail for my Bear Grylls adventure. I was hell bent on heading out on my little adventure. So I just kept walking and following the trail, and it's pretty hard to do because I mean, in a place as beautiful as Big Sur, you walk about 10 feet before you need to stop and take it all in or snap a picture of a stream. And it's always just really gorgeous out there, which is why I wanted to make sure my family went with me. So I kept going and convinced myself not to stop because I did want to make sure I made it all the way to the end of the trail to see the namesake of Limestone Kiln State Park, the lime kilns themselves. And they are about 100 years old, probably even older than that. And they used to mine lime, and they would cut down 3,000-year-old trees to use as firewood to kiln the lime right there. And they would take it out to the road. PCH wasn't built yet, but they would take it to the road to ship it off. And after my adventure was over, we ate dinner, went to bed, and the next morning was our drive home, which is always kind of depressing, but what are you going to do? You got to leave sometime, right? Good thing about Big Sur is the drive home is just as good as the camping trip itself. So we headed home, and I was excited because I got to pass so much knowledge down to my daughter. My wife was excited she got to relax, and my daughter was excited that she got to see animals and have an adventure. So mission accomplished.